All right, so today we're talking about a broken iPad Pro. Is the Apple Magic Keyboard really the greatest thing since sliced bread? Or did Apple really miss the mark on this one? In this video, I'm going to compare it to a $20 case that I have that doesn't even have a keyboard, and the omissions by Apple, they just might change your mind about whether this is really worth $300. Hi, and welcome to Dad's Tech Advice. And if you want to receive practical advice that'll save you from blowing your money just based on the hype, click the subscribe button and the bell notification icon so you don't miss a thing. And be sure to stick around to the end of every video where I share some of the best dad jokes the internet can offer. All right, so today we're talking about a broken iPad Pro. Well, that's not a good start there, Apple. All right, so now that we've put this back together and there's coffee all over the floor, we are going to talk Apple's Magic Keyboard. As you can see, that was a bit of a flaw, something to be wary of, especially when you're dealing with something like the iPad Pro, which is by no means a cheap tablet. So in this video, we're going to talk about the reasons that I think Apple fell short here and why this $20 case is actually better in a lot of ways. All right, so the first thing we saw, which is a pro in some eyes and a con in others, is that the iPad is just attached via magnets. So as you can see, you kind of line it up here and you get it on there. But holding it like this is apparently a really bad way to go, because we saw that just a little bit of pressure on the bottom, as we saw here, just a little bit of pressure on the bottom causes the entire iPad to just pop right off the case. When I started this video, that wasn't even going to be a con, and then I just wiped out everything on my desk, so that is definitely something to consider. But there are some really big reasons why I don't think this tablet or this Magic Keyboard is actually worth the $300, and I have just one exhibit to show you, which is where I think Apple really blew this the most. That's the Apple Pencil. Yes, the attachment for the Apple Pencil is in fact there, and you can attach it, but what's the biggest problem with cases that have this type of connection with the Apple Pencil? That right there. The first time I bought a case like this before the Magic Keyboard, I lost this thing for 6 months. Had no clue where it was, because there's no protection for the Apple Pencil. You have cases like these that are put out by a variety of different brands, and look what they've done. They've simply extended the case so that the pencil fits like this in the case, and then the iPad fits there, and it sits it in such a way that the charging station on the iPad Pro actually butts up against this, and I'll show you what that looks like. All right, so here's a $20 case. You open up the case, you look at it, minus all the fingerprints, and you see that there is the Apple Pencil, secure for travel, and it's also being charged. Why Apple didn't include an extended case to take care of the Apple Pencil is absolutely beyond me. You had a golden opportunity. It's all the Apple ecosystem, but yet you have that glaring omission that while you certainly market the ability to use the Apple Pencil with the iPad Pro, you didn't account for it in this design. To me, that just seems like an unacceptable omission, and one that really prevents me from being able to use all of my Apple products together the way I'd like to. Now, my next gripe is probably something, maybe a little bit of personal preference or in terms of how you actually use this device. But one of the reasons that I use an iPad is the flexibility that it is an actual tablet. Once you connect this thing into this case, which is a little bit awkward to handle, I'm going to show you a couple things. So we close it. There you have it when it's closed, and it'll be very difficult. There we go. To get the camera to focus on it. There's no discernible grab this to open this kind of thing. And what I'll often do is I'll grab this side, which is actually the back end, and I'll open it without the tablet. But trying to get in here and consistently open it the way you expect to open it is awkward, to say the least. So the other thing, because it's in this form factor, it really becomes a laptop. It's not really something I actually found by putting the iPad in this case that I'm much less likely to pick up the iPad. I like the versatility of an iPad, of a tablet, to be able to sit in bed, for example, and do some things on the iPad that are very cumbersome and awkward to do with the Magic keyboard attached, because as you can see, that's basically what you're dealing with, and you cannot flip this backwards. You cannot actually use it as a tablet. Now, Apple's answer to this, at least what I've seen from other people, is that, oh, well, it's just super easy to pop out. Yeah, but it doesn't really play out that way. It's not really that easy to pop out. It's a little bit awkward, and I'm much more likely to pick up my iPad and use it in something like this, where I can simply just flip the case to the back and I'm good to go. So that has definitely changed my whole mindset. I actually have a friend of mine who was repeatedly asking me for feedback on the Magic Keyboard, and I realized that I didn't have a lot of feedback in the first week or so because I was discouraged to actually pick up the iPad and use it. Now, one of the things that I do find handy, and I do want to show you how I use the iPad the most in terms of being productive. This right here is an Archon Mount. And this part is just an extra accessory, but this is a tablet holder right here. And I want to show you how I tend to use this the most often when I'm most productive with the iPad. And it looks a little something like this. And we're going to try to... It's got a little adjustment arm so it can go up and down. So I actually like having this device, and I'll hide my face so it kind of focuses on that in theory. There you go. I like having it up here at eye level. It's a touch screen, so you can do everything that you need to do. And for most ways in which I try to be productive on this helps a lot. If I'm at a standing desk or whatever, I can use this. It's easy enough to pop this out. But even this with the other case, in full disclosure, I still have to go in and out of the case, because if there is one flaw with this, is that you kind of pinch where the Apple Pencil is, which you really can't change about cases in general, because that's how the iPad Pro is designed. To me, the perfect situation would be a case that charges the Apple Pencil, keeps it out of the way for stands like the Archon Mount, and has a keyboard and touchpad. But unfortunately, we don't really have that type of one out there, and I really think that Apple could have really integrated that into this design. Plus, it would have given them more room for the keyboard and the touchpad. I think the problem is Apple is pre-consumed with form factor, and they want thinner and a smaller footprint. But it seems like there was an opportunity here when you really look at this, and I'll try to get this to focus. Good luck on that. You'll see that the dimension is pretty close. It seems like they could have just extended it and got the Apple Pencil to fit in there. So it's a little bit of a head scratcher why they didn't do that. I think it would have made this particular thing 100 times better. If you are somebody who is a heavy user and you want to type, obviously if you're writing long, lengthy documents on your iPad, then a keyboard's a no-brainer. But for all the ways that I tend to use an iPad Pro to be productive, I don't find that this Magic Keyboard has given me any great advantages. But I'd love to know what you guys think. Do you have the Magic Keyboard? Let me know in the comments below. And if you do love it, tell me why, and tell me what you use it for the most, because I think that's really going to determine whether the Magic Keyboard is best suited for you. Like I said, if you're somebody who has to type a lot, that could be a slam dunk. Either way, I'll throw a link to the Magic Keyboard in the description below where you can find that and purchase that. I'll also put a link to the other case that I have that I love. Makes it look like a composition notebook from back when I was in school. Don't know if you guys are still using those in school, but definitely love the look and feel of that one. And for $21 on Amazon, it's a great case. So I'll put a link for that down as well. And hey, if you guys want more Dad's tech advice, be sure to click the subscribe button and the bell notification icon so you don't miss it, nor the most amazing dad jokes you'll find on the internet. Speaking of which, there's one coming up. So my wife is really mad at the fact that I have no sense of direction. I wasn't going to take that. I packed up my stuff and write.